That roof is stripped out. It's ready for 10 except for some trimming on the ends. And I didn't film it because I was embarrassed how I had to crawl around on my hands and knees. I don't have the balance I used to have. At one point in my life, I would have just walked on these things, but that seems to have gone away. But anyway, I got it done. It's really hot. I'm glad I'm finished. I'm gonna go order something new. We're starting on the tin this morning, or the sheet metal, or whatever you want to call it. My structure is not particularly straight. I didn't pull any strings or anything. I just eyeballed everything. So my concern is getting the bottom edge of the sheets straight. I hate them when they go up and down an inch. It looks kind of sloppy. So I pulled a string from one end to the other. It's 6 foot from the bottom on that end and 6 foot from the bottom on the other end. Kind of just an arbitrary measurement. I put my first sheet up here and slid it around until I like the overhang top and bottom. It's got a little more overhang up top than bottom. And from the top of the sheet, it's 78 3/4. So I set that to the string on both sides. So the sheet should be perpendicular to the string or very close to it. So now, as I lay my sheets out, I'm going to measure from the top 78 3/4 on every one. And I may get a sawtooth at the bottom if I'm out of square, but it'll be the same all the way from one end to the other. Now the first sheet I'm going to notch around the building because I want overhang up top. So the first sheet's going to take me way longer than all the rest of them. And I got to get my sea legs up here. I'm not used to walking high. I was a hippie house framer for many years, so back in the day this would not have bothered me, but it kind of bothers me now. I'm kind of shaky, so moving slow. It's all going to be good. I got 3 sheets up, screwed down. Sad thing is, look at where my shade is. The sun comes from the side all the way to right here. So I didn't gain very much shade. I mean, I got protection from the rain. I'm going to have to put a pretty good size overhang on this end to try to block some of that sun. Or maybe some kind of cloth or something. I don't know. It's a little disappointing, but they're going up. They're going up okay. Hard. A lot of crawling around on my hands and knees, so it's physical. But sheets are going up one by one. 6 sheets today. 6 out of 11. I really wanted to finish it, but I'm just getting wobbly up there. I don't know whether my knees are exhausted or it's the heat or both, but I decided the prudent thing would be to call it. So I got 5 more sheets to go. One of them's already cut to go around this vent. Tomorrow we're going boating, so I'm gonna put the boat back in here and in the morning get it ready. And forget about this 10 for tomorrow. I guess I'll finish it Friday. But it's looking good. A little disappointed at the sun line. It almost comes sideways through here, I guess because it's getting to be fall. But if I put some good overhang on the side, I can get rid of most of that. And the fall sun is not as brutal as the summer sun, which is straight overhead. So progress.
So there's a little bit of a learning curve when you're working with sheet metal instead of lumber. Even though I've done a bunch of this in the past, it's still like starting over. This has been the first time in a long time. It's not particularly heavy, but it's very 100% awkward. So I was picking up 1 sheet at a time, getting them up on the sawhorses and leaning. If you can't do this on a windy day unless you have somebody holding them, because they are nothing but a sail. They won't stay put, and it's dangerous. So I got them set up, and then I would climb up top and pull them up. Again, it's very awkward. You know, you're standing on these little boards and you feel like you're going to fall, but really, you can't really fall unless you like pick your arm straight up and jump through the hole. Now, unlike plywood, when you're trying to slide them around on the roof to get them in the right position, they don't slide well because the far edge of the sheet is sharp and it's bent down and it tends to grab on the wood. So you gotta like flip it. You gotta flop it all the time, bouncing. When you want to move it, you gotta bounce it, get some air under it, and then you can slide it and get it where you want it as long as it's in the air. As soon as it touches down, you're stuck right there. You gotta flap it again. And my method of keeping the bottom edge straight with the string kind of went out the window on like sheet 2. So I've just been kind of winging them, kind of averaging them, try to get right amount of overhang top and bottom.
So I slide the sheet up and down until I get it where I want it, and then I put a little pencil mark to line it up. So when I put it back, I can drop it on that pencil mark because it's going to have the mastic on there. And once you put the mastic on there, the sheet will not slide. You got to get it just right before you drop it down.
So I put my rafters on 3-foot centers, and I put my stripping on 3-foot centers. And the stripping is 6-inch wide minimum. Some of them are 7, some of them are 8. So my free span is like 2.5 feet between the strips. And I wouldn't want to go much more than that with this lightweight profile. If I would have gone with the R panels, the standard commercial building panels, you can easily span that far. This was kind of borderline. And then they sell with sheets this butyl tape. It's really a, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a bead of caulk between wax paper. And you just roll this bead of caulk out kind of carefully. It stretches real easy. But this will keep driving rain, wind-driven rain from leaking between the sheets. It will also help a lot to keep the wind from picking up the edge of the sheets and maybe ripping them off. So you just roll it out. When you get to the end, you pull the top piece of paper off, and when you drop the sheet into place on this sticky stuff, and it's not moving anymore. So that's why the importance of pre-fitting it and getting the pencil mark where it's got to go, because you really want it where you want it. Once you let it go, especially once you pat it down, it's not moving. It's there forever. So the
sheet is down. Don't have to worry about it moving anymore. Now we poke some holes and put some screws.
So if you build a structure and it's straight and square, you can take measurements, stack the sheets up on the ground, and drill through all the sheets at the same time for your screws. I'm not so confident, and I really don't like drilling the holes because that leaves little metal filings from the drill bit, and they'll rust if you're not real careful in getting rid of them all. So this is a small structure, it's no big deal. I'm just punching the holes with a sharp punch. They punch easy, and I don't have to worry about sweeping all the filings off the roof because there's none to be swept. Typically you put the screws on top of the bump where there will be no water, and that will minimize leaks. Along this top edge, I'm putting them in the valley and on the top because I know this is where the wind's going to catch it and try to pull it off if we have high winds. You can distort the sheet by screwing it too tight, because when you screw down on top of the bumps, it kind of squats out. So as you go along, you got to be kind of careful to spread the screw from the top, screw from the bottom. You don't want to, you can gain if you're not careful when you're screwing and tightening it up on one side too much. You can see that last rafter doesn't run parallel with the sheets, and I was kind of figured that was going to happen. I don't know whether the sheets are crooked or the rafters crooked, probably both. But if you remember, I planned for this. I don't have that rafter fixed permanently. I just have a couple of screws at the bottom, so I'm going to unscrew it and tap it over and get it parallel with the sheets. And then I'm popped a line and cut all the overhangs off parallel with the sheets where it would work out good. And then I put a barge rafter at the very end, kind of keep those stripping a little more sturdy. And then the last sheet, instead of trying to rip it to fit, I have an overlap of 2 bumps instead of 1 bump. So that finished it off.
The roof is finished. Thank goodness. Still have to do some more stuff. I have to come up here and flash around this ductwork, and I'm going to flash around my existing building, but it's basically finished. Whew, couldn't have come too soon. See how square everything looks because I left that last rafter loose and I was able to knock it over and make the end come out sheet metal parallel with the wood. That's just an illusion. It's way out square, but that's okay. It's going to keep the rain out. So all along I was hoping for a 3-foot little additional overhang here. So I parked my truck. This is the truck coming back to the back, so no conflict. It's 2.5 feet, 3 feet taller than the top of the truck. 3 feet is one width of tin or sheet metal, and if I get very much more than that, I think I'm gonna have some structural issues, but I think I can cantilever 3 feet out with a couple of braces. So those are 2x4s. I don't have any more. I got some at home, but I got one on each end, and we'll just put the rest of them to the string and shoot them, and then we'll put braces under them. So this is good stuff, and it's cool this morning, and it feels absolutely delightful.
So the framing got like way easier now that I'm closer to the ground. This is like putting an overhang on a house. I have a string pulled very tightly from one end to the other, so the 2x4s are resting on the beam, and then top corner is just shy of the string. You don't want it to touch the string, because then you get accumulated airs. And you get it up in place, and shoot it with a bunch of gun nails, and turn out pretty strong. I'm gonna add a little brace under it when I'm finished putting all the tails on.
So I got all the 11 tails nailed up, and I got a little brace on each one to help bear some weight, a little short brace. And I got my first strip up there. I'm gonna mark it to length, take it down and cut it, and put it up and nail it. I'm just gonna put two. I'm gonna put one along the bottom and one a little ways down from the top. The connection between this little brace, I'm gonna have to brace up, because I can't really nail that very well, and if for uplift it has like no strength whatsoever. So I'm gonna maybe put a little plate on the side with some screws or a 1x or something. But other than that, I think we're strong enough. Just need to I can strip it out and figure out how much tin I need. Unfortunately, due to all the hurricane damage, there's a 3-week wait list on getting steel cut. So I'll probably get a stock length and try to cut it myself, although it's not easy to cut this corrugated stuff. But I don't want to wait 3 weeks, because that's just the way I am.
So the sheet metal of my building is set 1.5 inches out from the C-cans that I did put on the edges, which made this real convenient. I had a place to sneak a water line from outside to inside, or from inside to outside. And so I ran some PEX, and then I took a little piece of galvanized pipe, an elbow, and I welded that to a little plate so that I could fasten it to the C-can, and I wouldn't have to worry about the hose pulling on the PEX. So what I have now is super rigid. It's not going to go anywhere. And I screwed it in. We hooked up the PEX on the inside, and I have very convenient water right behind the boat. I have another hose, but it's on the opposite side of the little parking lot, so it's a 100-foot hose. It's not as convenient as this. This is like right immediately behind the boat. I can use a shorter hose, and I actually bought a brand new hose that wouldn't be covered with grease. It wouldn't slime up my boat when I pulled it in and out. So then I scrounged around looking for something curved to make a hose rack out of, and I found this copper pot that my wife had put out, and it works perfectly. So for now, I have one light fixture out here, and 2 receptacles that are right next to the boat. And I wired all this with Romex, which technically I think it should have been in conduit, because this is a commercial neighborhood, but it's an old neighborhood and nobody really cares anyway. If I have to change it one day, I'll change it. And I would like to add some more lights, but I don't buy lights. I usually just wait till I find them, and this was a found light. And I have a couple of receptacles close by, so if I want to plug in the battery charger, or if I want to work on the boat, I don't have to work off a 100-foot cord. I have a couple of little 15 and 20-foot cords that'll do just right.
Nice to be able to flip a switch when I get here early and it's dark and have some light and not stumble around. awesome. Once again, the video gremlin has struck. I had some good recording, I thought, of making this pipe brace. But anyway, I can't find it. Or I deleted it or something. But I started out with a piece of angle iron that I used the bolts that I've already put through the column at all the intersections. And I bolted that angle iron. And then I had a piece of pipe, more or less the right length. I didn't want it sticking out too far past the overhang. I leaned it up against that angle and marked and cut a notch and brought it back, and it fit. So I cleaned up the galvanizing off the angle and the pipe, clamped the pipe to the angle, and took it down, brought it inside and welded it out. And then did the same thing down here. I put two little angles next to the pipe after it was bolted tight up top, marked, cut some notches to get a better weld, put a super tight clamp on them, brought them inside, welded them out, and then bolted them. And this did the trick. The shake that's left is so minimal that I'm good with it. I wasn't good with it before, but I'm good with it now. So the shed is the shed is finished. I might put a screen up in the front of the boat one day, but for now the shed is finished. Oh yeah, and I put an old man pipe on the front of my trailer, so when I'm getting out of the boat I have something to hold on to. I got this tire here. It's a great step, but there was nothing to hold on to. Well, I can hold on to the trolling motor now, but it's not always there. This pipe is awesome. It's super stout. Gives me a good false sense of security climbing in and out of the boat.
And the little camera's making it look crooked, but it is straight. So give me some credit on that.
Mr. Boat Shed, with the exception of a few pieces of flashing, which who knows when that'll get done, is complete. And the boat is in the shade, and I have water and electricity, and I'm much more inclined to get out of here and mess with it, being in the shade and out of the path of leaves. Boy, it was a big leaf magnet when it was at home. Good stuff. Taking a boat ride Sunday, hopefully.